Welcome to this special segment of SalemNews.com. Today we're going to be speaking with Dr. Phil Leveque, and the subject is post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD is what it's mostly known by, of course, and it's really what we're talking about is a project that we're working on, probably one of the most important projects that Salem News has ever taken upon itself. We're producing a documentary called War and PTSD. Doc, as you know, and a lot of our viewers as well, Tim King, our executive editor, spent some time in Afghanistan and in Iraq, and in both those conflicts, and spoke to people, saw where they were coming from, and we have a lot of those images, very compelling, that'll be a part of the documentary. So what we'd like to do is explain a few things about PTSD and find out how many of you would like to give us your own stories, but also if you are in support of helping us get this PTSD documentary produced, this is also an available option to you. So if you can help out with War and PTSD, the documentary that we're producing, please let us know. You can send checks and money orders to SalemNews.com, Post Office Box 5238, Salem, Oregon 97304, or donate via PayPal, either one. Doc, please let's start off. Give us a definition of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Well, I think what I'll do is to go with this one word at a time. Post means after. Now, this is really kind of strange because a person gets this syndrome, whatever it is, during battle.
Okay.
So it's not post, it's not after the battle. And that's when most of it becomes attention of doctors or medics of some sort, or psychologists, psychiatrists, or whatever. So the post-traumatic stress disorder can occur anytime from a few days after you get out of battle up until, well, according even to the Veterans Administration, up to 50 years. And in my own case, I still have this problem 65 years after I was exposed to battle. So in a space of time, any time between a few days up until 65 years. Now, trauma, this means an injury. And the whole thing, the worst part of this particular condition is it doesn't show. Mm-hmm. It doesn't show unless the victim, whatever he is or she is, something can trigger this. And in my own case, if I heard a noise when I was sleeping that sounded like a Tiger tank driving by, boy, I'm telling you, I was awake in a hurry. And I used to have trouble with my electric blanket because it would click off and on. I knew that it was a German soldier coming into where I was sleeping, and that sort of woke me up too. So I think one of the worst things about the people who are afflicted by post-traumatic stress disorder is the fact that it doesn't come to anybody's attention unless it becomes overt, and we have panic attacks while we're asleep. We have anxiety attacks when we're asleep, and for a person with PTSD, had been out of the army in a battle situation for even a short time or even a couple of years. If he hears a truck backfire walking down the street, a lot of these guys will hit the ground.
Oh, I believe it. And these are the kinds of things that are shared with us on a regular basis. You get letters almost every day from people that are suffering, or somebody in their family is suffering. And what we've learned too, this isn't news to you, but PTSD is not one thing. There's a scale of 1 to 10. So some people, maybe they come back from a traumatic situation such as war, and they are maybe a 2 or 3 on the scale. Well, they have a hard time sleeping and they have some of the other symptoms. But in 6 months, they're down at 1 and 2. Somebody comes back and they're an 8 or a 9. Now, that's a totally different subject, right?
Well, my brother was a chief pharmacist mate or Navy medic with the Marines on Saipan. And when he came home from Saipan. He was on hospital ship, and they had rubber rooms for some of their PTSD guys. So if I remember correctly, the Saipan was mostly a Marine battle, and they got the hell kicked out of them. That's for sure. But the whole hospital ship was full of guys that were they were not the walking wounded. They were the wounded, and so forth.
Well, that's the kind of thing that this documentary will be trying to touch upon, is that this isn't only today, but we've got nearly 500,000 people coming back from these conflicts, and then we've got all of their family, their co-workers. If you can help us get this production done, we really, this is something we're getting a lot of attention. Oregon Public Broadcasting has shown their interest in getting it up as soon as possible. Send a check to salemnews.com, Post Office Box 5238, Salem, Oregon 97304. And we also take PayPal donations. Just look over here. You'll see it on the tile ad over on the right side of your screen.
You made a rather interesting comment just there that you probably don't even realize that you did. But the wives and the girlfriends of PTSD veterans get PTSD also, and so do their children.